We're now joined live by senior reporter Nompumelelo Siziba from Davos in Switzerland. Good evening, Nompu. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Now, given some of the recent utterances from the US presidential-elect Donald Trump on trade and other economic policies, I'd gather his presence looms large in Davos, even though he's not there. What's being said about the US?
Yes, that is the case, Tabile, that his presence does loom large. Come Friday, he's going to be inaugurated as the President of the United States. And obviously, the United States being such an incredible force in the globe, people are concerned about the direction of US policy. He's made utterances around trade, directly in relation to China and other countries. He's planning on building a wall between Mexico and the United States. He's completely scrapped the Trans-Pacific trade deal that was supposed to happen, which was going to benefit many an Asian country. So people are very concerned, particularly around trade. Everyone is looking for a new kind of burst of growth, because growth has been rather lethargic since the global financial crisis, and so people are concerned about that future. In terms of him not being here, well, obviously nobody really expected him here, because obviously he's only going to be inaugurated on Friday, but there is a gulf, and that gulf now allows China to fill it. What's going to happen tomorrow is that the Davos conference will be kicked off by the President Xi Jinping. He's going to open the forum, and it's quite significant because he's the first head of state from China to do such. Normally, it's lower level officials who come to WEF. It's not normally considered such a high profile event for China, but the fact that he's going to speak there tomorrow is quite significant. And with the US not being there, and we understand Germany, France, and even Canada not being there or having prominent people there, he's going to be taking quite a significant space.
Now, Nompu, the main focus at WEF last year was on the fourth industrial revolution. What do we know about the progress that's been made so far and its implications on the global economy?
Well, pardon me. Now, the fourth industrial revolution basically speaks to digitalization. We now live in an era of digitalization, and this has impacts on the global economy. It's been positive, and it's also potentially negative as well, because it's positive insofar as you and I now have access to ICT. Our lives are easier. We're able to connect easier. We're able to do our jobs even easier, as journalists, for example. But the downside of digitalization is, we're in the age of the robots. We're getting robots who are increasingly taking over what were previously manual jobs or jobs that were done by human beings. So we're in a very dicey age where people at this forum need to discuss how do we take advantage of digitalization, the fourth industrial revolution, while at the same time bringing people in line with it so that it doesn't result in job losses and so on and so forth. So some of the solutions to this particular problem, or the main solution, will be education, global education. We can't be educated in the same way that we were 20 or 30 years ago. We need to be educated in a way that enables us to align our skills base to the new industrial revolution, so that we don't become redundant and continue to have this type of socio-economic problems that we have in much of the world, even the developed world, where we're seeing high levels of unemployment. Tabi.
Nompu, take us through some of the key themes that delegates will be focusing on this year.
Well, as I mentioned before, Tabi, the main issue really for countries is growth. Growth has been so elusive since the global financial crisis. That, if you like, is an overarching theme. How do we get growth going? But then other issues come in, like how do you ensure that there's inclusive growth? Because people are saying increasingly that, your populist type of parties and so on around the world are beginning to gain currency precisely because people feel like the economy is not working for them. Many are unemployed, many are on low paying jobs and feel like the system is working against it. People say this is why we saw Brexit, this is why we saw people voting for Donald Trump, for example. I was speaking to a couple of professors from one of the universities in the United States earlier, and they were saying that they believe that the white working class decided to vote for Donald Trump because they felt that the system was no longer working for them, and people like blacks and other people feeling that, oh, we don't have jobs, or these people are getting jobs over us, and so on and so forth. So basically, these are some of the issues that will need to be addressed. And Amnesty International came out with a report today saying, look, we can't have a situation where leaders are pushing this issue of fear and division amongst people. And I think implicit in that is some of the comments that Donald Trump has made. They're saying what is needed is leadership that is inclusive, that gets people to work together to deal with social ills instead of scapegoating people and so on. So issues around growth, how to find growth, education, again, key, not just for the digital revolution, but generally bring everyone on board, because a major theme, obviously, is inequality. Oxfam came out with a report today saying that the rich are just getting richer, poor getting poorer. There are so many poor people, 3.6 billion poor people, and 8 billionaires actually have wealth that exceeds the value of those people in terms of what they own. So it's a very serious issue. That's the overarching theme. So education, economic growth, the industrial revolution, and how to basically harness it and leverage it so that.
Oh, it seems like we lost our senior reporter there, Nompumelelo Siziba, and she was giving us the latest as the World Economic Forum kicks off in Davos tomorrow. We'll be crossing to her for more as and when that happens.